So she has a collaborator.
Welcome to Integrated Health of Indiana's 7 o'clock talk. And we are sitting in the kitchen. And we have big announcements. First announcement is the thank you all. The IVs are doing fabulous. The feedback on the IVs are fabulous. If you go to the Integrated Health of Indiana YouTube page, we're starting to post our testimonials from patients on there. Our first one, CB, is on there, and he has an incredible story. But it's funny when you ask God, how can I help your people? How can I help people heal and be well? And this is why it's called Hormones, Peptides, and Well-Being. Oh my. It's very interesting. I am super resistant to doing hormones. I don't like them. The pathways on those things are just nightmare fuel. But we have been continually drawn to this because every time I go into doing stuff with the mitochondria, every time I start to do stuff with energy, meaning not energy as in woo-woo energy, energy as in people are tired, people are trying to do the right things, they're trying to exercise. Yes, having a core foundational diet, making sure everything is good, the metrics are good, and probably everybody has experienced it. You get to this certain point and then you just cannot do anymore. And so then I'm 51. And so after age 50 for guys, hormones start to drop. And if you've been a drinker, if you've eaten the standard American diet and done these things, you've done damage to yourself, as I have done damage to myself. And the doors have been opened to us to collaborate with other practitioners now. So we now have people. Hello, Kathy. Good evening. We now have practitioners that are good at hormones. And we now have practitioners that we are starting to work with that are going to help us bring peptides to our patients for their health and well-being, because these are
only after we've experimented ourselves and we know that it can help people.
Yes.
And we are looking forward to rolling them out if they do what they say they're going to do.
Yes, I'm going to start on the peptides, actually probably get them ordered tomorrow to work on myself on some insulin sensitivity and doing some the practitioner that we're working with. I sent my blood work in, and when I sent my blood work in, insulin sensitivity is great. Actually, I have to give a tip of the hat to Omnilogic, because I have been using their probiotics and their prebiotics, and it has drastically changed the lipid profile. You saw my lipid profile. It didn't actually lower my cholesterol much, 40 points, but the LP little a, which is the atherosclerotic one, which gives you the risk to cardiovascular disease. I can't believe how much it dropped it. I've never done anything.
It dropped huge.
Yeah.
It was huge.
It took me from 200 and some odd, 251 or something like that, to less than 90.
One of them was 611 to less than something.
Yeah. And I have done I don't ask my patients to do anything that I haven't done. And
we're the lab rats.
Yeah, we are. And so I am speechless on how well that worked. So first things first, when we talk about hormones, let's differentiate on hormones. If you're female and you're perimenopausal or menopausal, your risks. So you've heard me talk about stratifying risk with the pandemic. You've heard me talk about stratifying risk with cardiovascular disease, with the standard American diet. I'm all about what's your risk. And so if we stratify risk, what happens to females who become perimenopausal and menopausal? We start to see progesterone tank. We start to see estrogen tank. It gets really wonky, hot flashes, all kinds. Menopause in the functional medicine model is a huge trigger for hormonal issues. And yes, eliminating sugar, added sugar, getting your insulin under control, having the good fats. In the PTSD model, the production, transmission, sensitivity, detoxification model, you are giving your body everything it can do. But as much as I hate to admit it, being 51, the machinery is just not as efficient as when I was 25 and 30. If I go do the stupid things that I did when I was that age, the amount of pain that I inflict on myself, I'm just afraid. I haven't done anything like I used to do when I was in my 20s and 30s. I don't want to hurt. I don't even want to think about how bad I'd hurt. So what was it? Oh, my mom was still alive. So 2008, 2009, they came out with a study on hormones and hormone replacement. And hormone replacement actually started to cause cancers and stuff like that. They did not differentiate out what we call bioidentical hormones and conjugated equine or conjugated estrogen hormones. The conjugated estrogens and progesterones are what caused the increased cancer and all the ill effects. The bioidentical hormones are the ones that actually give you a protective effect. But the powers that be that actually do those studies, they didn't care. They couldn't make money off of it. So they just lumped it all together and said it was all garbage. And now over time, they've actually started to vet those out. And they can see that the hormones are different. The quality of the hormones. You've heard me talk about the quality of food. So the quality of the hormones are better. So the Siberian rhubarb and the yam, when it's done as a bioidentical hormone, is very protective. It's protective against breast cancer. It's protective against uterine cancer. It's protective against Alzheimer's and dementia and all of these wonderful things.
Well, and you don't just have to just go to the doctor and then just say, well, you're just getting older.
It drives me nuts. I had a discussion with a patient tonight.
But my joints still hurt.
Yes.
And you don't have to hurt. You should be able to live a full life into your 90s.
Well, there was a wonderful seminar that I sat in on and listened to. And the lady was a hormone expert. And she basically gave the idea of the ideal death. And the ideal death is being in your 90s. You go out that day, you're doing whatever you want to do. You get to go ride bikes, play ball, whatever. And then you come home, you have a meal, you make love to your spouse, and then you just tap out. And they're now saying that's possible. Now, you have to remember that the people that this woman was talking to are health, longevity,
They're geeky
nerds. So a lot of the foundational work has been done. But here's the thing: the foundational work is inexpensive. It's free. You're going to eat, so you might as well eat well, eat right, eat happy and healthy. Don't spend your life, if you think about your life in dollars, don't spend your life dollars on crappy food. Because like I said, you're going to eat. And if you're going to eat, you might as well make it build you up. And then if you go to do something like bioidentical hormones, and there are creams, and if you are non-compliant, I didn't say a word.
I'm not even going to say I'm not.
Wasn't me.
Most busy people are going to be non-compliant. They're not going to remember to take a pill same time every day. That's why we have so many children. And it's true. That is why there's so many children in the world. And creams, you're going to forget them. It's true.
Well, and the side effect of creams,
But-
if you're a guy and you're doing transdermal cream and then you go do this, guess who gets to absorb the testosterone as well? And they will get a beard, and that just isn't right.
But we've learned that we kind of stumbled in all this. Actually, this was a blessing.
That's why I
on
say it's
multiple
a God
sides.
thing.
Yeah, it is. So, like for me, we can use meat. We can pick on me for a little bit. I have mostly
We have been.
a great diet. Not perfect, because I will treat myself, but I do. But I'm not lazy, and I don't sit around, and I exercise, and I get fluffier. I'm losing tone. My joints hurt. He says I'm probably grumpy. Lots of things. But if I was to go to the medical doctors, which I just kind of did just for a checkup, they just always want to give you a pill, write you a prescription, or tell you that's just how you're old. So I'm 48. I'm not old. That's not old. We have lots of life left in us. I just think 40 in your 40s is really young. Really 60s is young. Even 70s. You should be out. We have an uncle in his 80s.
81. Well, we just had an
he-
81-year-old patient come in, still
He
driving
walks
herself and doing everything.
like 6 or 7 miles a day,
Mhm.
just with his dog. That's just with his dog every day. And
I'm thinking about it. He was
rides
on his bike
bicycle.
and he rode circles around
He
us.
did.
And I've done how many Ironmans and half Ironmans?
Well, I
Now,
wasn't
granted,
helping
the
out, but I was
equipment-
kind of broken a little bit.
The equipment was was not on par with his equipment,
No,
but he's
still,
81 years old riding circles around us.
living a great life,
Mhm.
and everybody should live a great life. So our IVs have rolled out, and we've had nothing but positive. That has been so awesome watching. Really, the joy, and for people to call me back or for me to follow up with them and to listen to what they felt was an awesome experience for them. And then we are still trying to kind of unravel myself and trying to figure out how we can help others, not just ourselves, but our patients, but then other practitioners.
And the
so-
experience in helping ourselves lets us help them.
And so the door was open to help others through one provider who led us to another provider. And we just happened to call her. And then she felt like, wow, this is a God sign, and is willing to collaborate with us. And it's a give and take.
Yep.
So then she was talking, actually, we were talking to her for just some of our patients. Then she starts talking about all these things that she can do and what she's doing. And she starts talking about all these symptoms. And I'm like, hey, I want to do that. I want to see if that's my problem. So we're going to teach Trevor to be a phlebotomist yet.
Hey, I got on first stick today.
He did listen to me about where he should go and why. I'm not so sure that he'll ever do IVs, but he didn't break a sweat.
That's your bag, not mine.
So I think I've been stuck 4 or 5 times in the last 2 days, maybe 3 days. I don't remember. So we sent off some thyroid labs because we were going to tweak that. Then this lady starts talking, and she's opened up. She can help our patients in other areas. And the beautiful part of that is nobody's competing against anybody. It's really
mutual help.
symbiotic. So she starts talking about these
Well, hold on.
identical.
I do want to pause 1 second. Remember, you can't just address the thyroid. You have to address the adrenals first. After you address the adrenals, then you can go to the thyroid. If you do not address adrenals and the quote adrenal fatigue, then you have a problem. And if here are signs and symptoms that you have hormonal problems, you're over the age of 40.
You're gonna have to differentiate. Are you talking to males or females?
I'm gonna hit them both.
Okay.
So for females, perimenopausal, menopausal, whatever age that is for you, your joints hurt and you've done everything under the sun. You don't have arthritis. You brain fog, blood pressure starting to raise.
Well, the brain fog, for instance, is like when you're sitting at the table and you've said grace, and then you go to panic because people are putting food in their mouth, but you forgot that 2 minutes ago you said grace, so you demand that you say grace again.
Or you have
multiple times a week.
Yep. Or you have what we call doorway amnesia. You walk into the room and you're like, okay, why did I come in here? And so part of that can be you're just too busy in monkey mind. But the other part of that is hormones drop. If you're male, vaginal dryness, painful intercourse. What else was on that list?
Losing muscle tone. Belly fat.
And stubborn belly fat. And losing muscle tone.
Sugar cravings.
Just because, and we're still working out sugar cravings. Guys, same mental symptoms,
Sweating,
same loss of muscle mass, all that stuff. But we lose testosterone
libido
in around 50. So if you're 45, 50 years old, you can start to take that hit. So back to your
I had
point,
some of those. I mean, they could be my thyroid, could be my hormones, could be a lot of things. But we've really kind of checked out lots of other things, and it doesn't really change. So,
well, and in our prayers, we were asking, hey,
how can we help people? How can we help ourselves?
How do we help people, and how do we get people some immediate relief, some quick wins while they're doing the underpinning work that will sustain these?
Because they're all intertwined.
Yes.
You have to fix the gut. The gut, you have to, if you have a leaky gut, you absolutely have to address the leaky gut, probably first and foremost. And then
you have to be, you have to be pooping. If you're not going to the bathroom, your detox on the PTSD detox isn't working, and you will reabsorb and become estrogen dominant. So,
or just toxins in general.
Yeah. So when we look at this, it's very important to think about production, transmission, transport, sensitivity, and detox. That's very, very key. And people hear me all the time. Are you pooping? Okay, you are. Well, here's the Bristol stool chart. What's it look like? Because some people will say, well, yeah, I poop once a week. Yeah, I poop once every 2 weeks or once every other day or something like that. And that's not normal.
You got to clear it. But so anyway, the last week, God has really kind of opened doors and said, hello, hey, listen to me. I got something good. So
here's your way. It's all natural.
It's
the body
like,
self-regulates.
It's like begging God to let you help others, and you're pulling off on the side of the road, and then here you go. The door opens. Just got to ask and you'll receive. But anyway, we met I have yet to meet her in person, but she's a beautiful character over the phone. And her name is Sandy.
Mm-hmm.
She's from Madison, Indiana, and she specializes in hormones, but she can do all kinds of other things. So she was talking, and we were talking actually to help another patient probably. And then I'm like, hey, I want to do this. I want to try this. Well, I will be a guinea pig and we can follow my journey. So she does the bioidentical hormones, and they are pelletized, and they're made from soy and yam, I believe is what it is.
Yep.
So I'm like, I'm in. We have lots of people. I'm in front of lots of people.
And we actually have patients who are already working with her. That's
Yeah,
actually where we got the name from a patient.
Yes, and then we had more patients to send. Then we started, and then we thought, well, we're gonna research this a little bit, and we listened to a bunch of information, and then we were like, wow, these women are living amazing lives, and 2 months ago they weren't. And these are people that should know. These are OB/GYNs. These are medical doctors, and they just didn't know what they didn't know. And so now
I got a big beef about that stuff.
I think next week, well, we pull my labs next week. We're going to send her our labs, my labs. She's going to do her magic and what she feels is a good recipe because she tailors it to each person.
Yes.
And then it's actually injected. For women, it can be injected every 3 to 4 months. For men, it is every 6. And then at month 3, she will redo your labs and see if she has to tweak it. And if she has to up your thing, she actually gives you another injection. And then she will, the next month, she readjusts everything, gives you another injection that should last 3 to 4 months. And then after the second or third labs, you should have your recipe in. You should feel, she says that you should start feeling much better in 7 days. Most everybody that we listen to on the podcast and the little seminars, they felt freaking amazing at 2 months. But you have to fix, you have to fix the gut. You have to balance the hormones, and you have to make sure the thyroids are working. So we're also super excited about doing an experiment on ourselves, our tight little, study on peptides, and we'll see how that all intermingles and if we can roll that out to help others. So we have all kinds of amazing things, and we kind of have a beautiful circle of wellness in our clinic.
We're finally getting,
we are so excited about it.
All the wellness pieces in. Jessica can do vitamins intravenously to help people right off the bat. We're looking at peptides to help get people quick wins.
I have a doggy over here that
the hormones to get quick wins. And so it's all coming together for you guys, and we'll bring it to you as quickly as we can.
And God is good.
Thank you. You all have a wonderful evening. And
we'll let you know how our journey continues.
Yep.